Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Crop Progress Update. Good to be back. It feels like it's been a few weeks since I've been a part of this, so a lot's changed both in the market dynamic as well as the crop that we've seen in front of us. So, Dave, why don't you start us off here and talk a little bit about what you've seen change here over the last week from the crop agronomy side of things?
Yeah, so the crop actually looks really good out there.
Good.
Both soybeans and corn. The soybeans are a little bit on the stress side from the mini drought that we had. So top end yield's probably off of that. It's looking more like a 40 to 50 bushel yield out there on soybeans. A corn, though, is looking really good. If they'd stayed with the longer season corn, like I kind of was urging people to do, like 110-day corn, that stuff's over 200.
Okay.
100 if you cut back to 105. That's going to be right around that, between the 150, 180.
Okay.
So a lot of bushels were reduced just because of the maturity date, unfortunately. Sure. We're well into milk stage, possibly getting into dose stage right now on the stuff that was planted late. Or when I say late, that first week in June. Okay. If it was planted in first week in May, which we had about 20% planted that way, that stuff is R5, well in the dent, and probably will be black layering within 10 days.
Okay, good. What issues are you seeing out there, I guess, from your perspective, as we've been walking some fields? Okay,
so we got two different kind of issues going on right now. The later planted stuff, we're going to be pushing frost. Yep. It's probably 30 days to 40 days until black layer. Okay. That's going to put us in the middle of October. That's an issue.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yep.
Because we could start, if we do get a frost before it black layers, that's going to be lightweight corn. It's going to be high moisture corn.
Yep. Absolutely.
So the 40 and 40 issue that people have been talking about. The next issue that we're seeing out there is a lot of disease. Now, I've been kind of preaching about this gray leaf spot for a month or two out there, and it's getting worse.
Sure.
It's getting worse. Now I'm starting to see, unfortunately, northern leaf blight come in. Just this last week, I was out scouting a field in central Indiana with a farmer, and he swore that him and another ag advisor was out 2 weeks previous. Okay. And the corn was clean. And now I was seeing huge amounts of gray leaf spot and also northern leaf blight. Okay. So unfortunately, we still got to be on top of this because the harvestability of this stocks are going to be an issue, I think. Okay.
With that early frost dynamic, I know it feels from our perspective like it's going to be a very drawn-out harvest this year, and one of those that, just like the planting dynamic was, it's going to be an interesting fall ahead of us. But
yeah, so I've been actually comparing it to the old Merle Haggard song. We can make it to December.
Sure. Well, we'll see if these stalks can hold up, and we can make it there from an elevator perspective too. I'm sure everybody's looking forward to flipping the calendar year to 2020 after a crop year and season like this. But even from the market dynamic, I mean, there's been a lot going on here over the last 2 weeks, and it just feels like the volatility is still there, but we've definitely lost some from the market perspective. We've made contract lows here in corn just the last few days, and there's a lot of different scenarios that a producer can paint here at these levels. If you're one that is somewhat far sold on your contracts, maybe buying some cheap calls would be an option to enhance some of those existing 19 positions that you have on. Or if you are looking to put your next round of sales on, if you feel a little undersold, maybe looking and putting some orders out there 20 or 30 cents above the market, which is close to those moving averages, the 100 and 200-day moving averages like we like to look at from a technical perspective, maybe something to do there. The other thing to keep in mind from the calendar perspective is right now we have our Freedom final pricings on our existing 2019 contracts coming up, and maybe take a look at setting basis on those or letting those become HTAs, rolling them out with the spreads from the Dece to the March and the March to the May being somewhat reasonable right now to get those rolled out and capture some of that carry if you're putting those bushels in the bin. All conversations to talk with your Anderson's account rep on, and we can specialize those to your overall risk management portfolio. the other thing that I wanted to keep in mind from my perspective is just looking ahead to that 2020 crop. Right now, if you would look at the board right now, D's 20 is hovering right around $4 D's futures. So maybe a good place to put your next sale out there would be to look past the D's 19 scenario that we've got in front of us right now and look ahead to D's 20 with that $4 type of a futures number, or even look at your freedom contracts and enrolling some bushels into that for the diversified approach that we like to have here for your 2020 crop. So don't lose sight on 2020, even though we are somewhat stuck here, you could say, in a D's 19 scenario that really doesn't look great right now. But we'll see what the next report does, and that'll be next Thursday on September 12th. We'll get an updated yield from the government and see what they give us from an overall stocks perspective. So just kind of putting that all together, it's just an interesting time, it feels like, as everybody's anticipating harvest and trying to finish this crop out that we've got in front of us, and trying to stay ahead of it from a marketing perspective as well. So a lot of different things to catch up on there with your agronomist or your Anderson's account rep, but don't be afraid to give us all a shout, and we'd sure love to help you out. So with that being said, that's all we've got for you here today. We'll chat with you here going forward.